Hi, welcome to this vlog. In the last one we was just going through into Doncaster, and be unfair to leave that town without mentioning its main industry, which was rail. Locomotives and carriages were built at the plant, as it was known. Employed about 3,700 people and covered an area of about 84 acres. And there's some really iconic engines that were built there. The Flying Scotsman, the first loco to do 100 mile an hour, and also on the subject of speed, there was the Mallard, which still holds the world record of 126 mile an hour. So yeah, there's all sorts of locomotives and carriages that were built and maintained at the plant in Doncaster. So we start off going down through Doncaster Town Lock and head out past the prison, Marshgate, and then we go past the Doncaster Rowing Club, which is in Hexthorpe Park. And it's not long before we reach some lovely old rail bridges. First one is like a lattice girder construction, and the second one similar sort of construction but arched, but this one's a disused railway bridge. And then just as we come under there, you can see in the distance the A1 road bridge. This is quite emotional for us going underneath this bridge, because the amount of times we've actually gone over it in a car, because we used to live in Surrey. Kate's parents lived in South Yorkshire, so you know, most times when we were travelling up weekends, we'd be going over this bridge. And in recent years we've sort of said, well, you know, one day we'll have our own boat and we'll go under here on the River Don, and yeah, so here we are doing it now.
That's what gets me.
Yeah, that bit in the middle.
That next gets that, never knew it was there. There's a bit of a bend on that, isn't there?
Not quite the same league as Conisbrough Aqueduct, viaduct.
No, it's not the same league.
So here we are approaching Sprotbrough Lock. As I was saying, this is another one of the massive great locks that are along here, all the way from the Humber down through to Rotherham. Yeah, and it's our boat looks so small in this lock, but and it uses an awful lot of water as well. It seems quite a shame, really, that you could probably get 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of our boats inside this lock. So this is the fish pass at Sprotbrough. Not so long ago these waters were pretty polluted, but these days there's a lot of fish in it, and this fish pass was made to go up the weir, which enables fish to go up the weir. So yeah, there's 2 different types. There's one that's like a squiggly one for the eels, and there's another more like a flat plate type pass for the conventional type of fish, for want of a better way of putting it. Approaching Conisbrough viaduct. It's a really iconic looking viaduct. There's 21 arches and it covers 1,527 feet, and it's 150 feet above the River Don, and it's got and again another one of these steel lattice troughs which carries the 120 foot span over the river itself. And yeah, and when this was built, between the columns there was like a rope walkways between for workmen to get across. Now it's disused and it's part of the Trans-Pennine National Trail. So this is Mexborough lower lock. Kay's just driving in there, and I'll be operating the gate. So these are all done automatically. You just put your waterways key in and use the buttons to operate it. And yeah, then we went on through and we moored up at the Pastures, which is a pub near Mexborough. And yeah, we met a lot of family and friends who had a few days over here because it's not far from where Kay's family are from. So we spent a few days in this area before we moved on towards Rotherham. Just come into Mexborough now, and it's this lovely old mill. It was originally the Barnsley British Cooperative Society flour mill. Now it's derelict, but there is planning permission to convert it into apartments and 26 new build homes. Then we passed Lidl's in Mexborough, and there's a big turning point here, which is used for the Exxon Pride when it comes through, and it's a 90-degree bend. So we go underneath the railway bridge, and yeah, we're sort of leaving Mexborough now and going towards Swinton. So Swinton, there's a lock there, Wellington's Lock, and to the side of Wellington's Lock is Wellington's Yard. So yeah, Wellington, he ran a big fleet of barges from here, and yeah, he's very, very successful, and he was the instigator really of having this canal widened all the way from Rotherham right through. So and that increased the tonnage from 200 tonnes to 700 tonnes to go through this area. This was in the 80s, and it's not so much used as it used to be. It never really got used as much as it should have been. But this craft here, this XL Pride, goes through every week from Illingham, I think it goes from, right through to Rotherham for oil cargo. It's also the junction of what was the Dove and Dern. So where Wellington's Yard is the entrance to the old canal. There is a plan to restore this, but it's an awful lot of work for that to happen. So there we leave there, go through the lock and on through the village of Kilnhurst. And just beyond Kilnhurst there's a flood lock, and that takes us out onto the River Don. So this last part we've just been on was canalised. This is actual river. There's lots of trees. It's more of a natural sort of environment. Then there's this big loading dock there, which is still in use. And then here it looks like we're going through the middle of the countryside, middle of nowhere, but we are actually approaching the middle of Rotherham, really. Yeah. So it's you wouldn't really know you're in such a built-up area when you're going along the river. So we go through Old Bark Lock, and then we're now just approaching Eastwood Lock. And we go through here and more up the visitors' moorings on the left hand side, which is opposite the Park Gate shopping centre. So now going past the Swan Cafe. This is on by the winding hole where the Exxon Pride turns round, and then on down through this line of more boats on the right hand side.
That's a bit like Tom's.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Tom, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
It was what, 1923 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Then we approach Rotherham station, where we sort of do a left turn and go through Rotherham Lock. So this is the first of the very small locks, only 60 foot these ones. And now we're really coming up towards the Tinsley flight. Really, this is like the start of it. There's Eccles Lock here, on through there. I think the next one after the next one is Holmes Lock. Okay, just doing the gates there. So these are manual now, not automatic. Then Jordan's Lock. Looks a bit like an infinity pool. It's weird, it just drops away. So you don't want to be going too close to those orange bollards, those orange buoys. It's got a drop just beyond there. So 2 boats just passed us here, and yeah, now we're just heading towards what is really the proper start of the 12 locks of the Tinsley flight, which takes us up towards Sheffield. So there's some volunteers on this flight of locks. I'm usually there to help, but they were helping 3 boats coming down this morning. So we did the first few around. Kate's just doing the gate on this one and this one as well. And yeah, we have to wait here while one comes out, and then we're off on now. And pretty shortly we get some help. So this is the Tinsley viaduct. This is where the M1 goes over. This is quite unusual because it's a steel construction, and at the time when this was made, most of this type of road bridges were being done from post-stressed concrete. So it's quite unusual in that respect. The A631 goes underneath. So yeah, it's quite a busy area this. And obviously you've got the canal going underneath both of those roads. So we've got some help here now from Dave, who's looks after the locks up on Tinsley flight. So we go through this one, and then on our left is Tinsley Marina. We were lucky enough to be able to stay here for a couple of nights when we came back down. Nice location, lots of facilities, and very close to Sheffield Arena, and also IKEA in Sheffield, is just over the other side of the canal from here. Okay, just doing this last lock with Dave, and there's a facilities block there, the brick building on the left hand side, and this is the last part of the marina we're just going past now. There's quite an intriguing mix of boats in here. okay just doing this one, and she'd hop on here and off we go. We've got about, I think it's about 2.5 miles or so now of pound to get into the centre of Sheffield at Victoria Quay. So passing the arena, and then there's some visitors moorings just here. It's quite nice. We didn't stop there, but it looks like a good place to stop. And some interesting bridges on this long straight stretch. It's quite industrial on the approach into Sheffield. You're looking at a lot of the back factories. Quite a lot of graffiti on the walls along here, but I was intrigued by it because it was actually, you know, pretty clever stuff. It's not like all leather hashtags. There's some very, very clever artwork that's been done. Quite interesting scrapyard. Not quite sure where that water's coming from. Bags, aren't they? This is Jonathan Wilson's Boat Builders. We nearly bought a sail away before we bought our boat from here. Very, very good quality steel work, lovely welding, and the boats are fitted out at Finesse Boats in this new building just here. And yeah, they built some lovely boats, including this one called Nevermind. So we are just approaching Victoria Quay. We moored up here for a few days to explore the city. There's a little map here of what's in Victoria Quay. This straddle building was the old warehouse where it was a shortage of space in the area, so they used this for unloading, so the loading was done from on the canal above it. It's all been really nicely restored in this area, and some lovely eateries and places to drink. Yeah, so this is the square with the Crucible in it and the Lyceum, and while we're here there was a bit of a festival going on. There was some music, there's a stage there with some live entertainment, and we didn't intend to stop, but we stopped here and watched a little bit of music and had a couple of drinks, and one thing led to another, and we was there all afternoon. So Sheffield is synonymous with Sheffield steel, and steel cutlery was made here long before 1842 when Benjamin Huntsman invented the crucible steel production process here in Sheffield, and this invention turned Sheffield into a small town, into a leading European industrial city. And in the 100 years that followed, annual production of steel rose in the city from 200 tonnes to 80,000 tonnes, and that was almost half of Europe's total production. And at its peak, the Don Valley area of Rotherham and Sheffield employed 150,000 staff. And Henry Bessemer's 1856 converter furnace, which was also made here in Sheffield, just enabled mass production of cheap refined steel. So that escalated the production in the city. And again, in 1912, Harry Brearley invented stainless steel. That was done in Sheffield. Yeah, so it's no wonder this is called Steel City. But unfortunately, Sheffield lost about 50,000 steel and engineering jobs in the early 80s due to global competition, and it now concentrates on specialist steels, with this factory at Forge Masters employing around 600 people. So I'll leave this vlog here at Sheffield. The next one we're probably heading back down the South Yorkshire navigation, but we won't be going all the way to the Trent. We'll be turning off on the new junction canal, which takes us onto the Aire and Calder, and then eventually we'll be going up the Selby Canal and then up the Ouse. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate the comments that I get and your support, and yeah, see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.